Welcome to Studio 58A Live here at the Jamaica Information Service, our discussion program coming to you live on Facebook and Instagram. I'm your host, Vaughn Davis. Thank you to everyone watching us wherever you are. We really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for your eyes. And as you watch, remember to send in your questions and your comments so we can put them to our guest. And like how we have your attention, do us a favor now. Share the video with a friend or two or 1,000 so we can have a very lively discussion. Now, more than ever, we live in a global community. Connecting with and traveling to other territories is much more readily accessible than it was in years gone by. And we as a people are encouraged to take advantage of this, particularly when it comes to education. There are plenty of opportunities out there for Jamaicans to travel to foreign countries to study. And we're going to discuss one of those today. We have in studio with us a representative of EduCanada, which operates the largest Canadian education fair in the world. We have Trade Commissioner at the Canadian High Commission, Miss Yasmin Chong. Welcome.
Thank you, Vaughn.
All right. So Yasmin is going to share all the details about who EduCanada is, what they do, and most importantly, how they can help you to go study in Canada. All right. So to begin with, Yasmin, what exactly is EduCanada for persons who may be unfamiliar with it?
Okay. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure to be here and to share more information on studying in Canada. So EduCanada is the official brand of the Study in Canada program. So in Canada, education is really provincially managed. That means the 10 provinces of Canada each manage international education in their respective provinces. But the federal government, which is the government of Canada, through Global Affairs Canada, is responsible for promoting, monitoring, and in a sense regulating education across Canada. And that's why EduCanada is very proud to say that no matter where you are in Canada, the standard of education and the quality of education remains the same.
Okay, all right. So EduCanada is looking to reach outwards and connect with us in the Caribbean, particularly Jamaica, because that's where we are. So how did that? How has that connection been over the years? How has the relationship between us and EduCanada been going? Have we been able to benefit a lot of youngsters out there who are interested in studying in Canada?
Oh, absolutely. So Canada and Jamaica have shared a very long and historic kind of relationship. And EduCanada, as you would imagine, is one of those areas. This is evident when you look, for example, in the government of Jamaica, in the parliament. And I can tell you that at this time, at least 5, maybe 10 persons as members of parliament or senators have been educated in Canada.
Right.
And so this relationship continues. It continues in many different forms over these many years. And so EduCanada is just one of those programs that the government of Canada continues to support when it comes to not only Jamaica, but the entire Caribbean.
All right. So the EduCanada fair is actually an education fair, meaning that persons come and they attend, they get to interact with representatives from various schools and so on in Canada.
Yes.
And just to be clear, like persons who might be wondering where, aren't all public events banned and that kind of thing, not to worry. I mean, the fairs are
in November.
Right. So the EduCanada fairs are going to be held in November. Hopefully by that time, things should have slowed down with COVID-19 and we should be able to go out en masse in the public and be able to interact. So you should be able to take advantage of the study fair opportunity at that time. Remember, it's in November. Has a specific date been identified?
Yes. So the fair for Jamaica, the fairs for Jamaica will be during the week of November 8th to 13. And we are pleased to announce for 2020 that we will continue, as we did last year, to have 3 locations. So it will be in Kingston, it will be in Mandeville,
absolutely,
and in Montego Bay.
All right. So the whole island coverage essentially. So there's not, I mean, yeah, as they said, people like to think Kingston is Jamaica, but you're spreading your wings and making sure that everybody across the country gets an opportunity to attend.
Yes, we want all students, be they secondary school students or, as we refer to them, mature students.
All right.
We want everyone to have an opportunity to at least interact, to find out what studying in Canada is all about, and if there is serious interest, they will have the opportunity to speak to representatives of at least 30 Canadian colleges and universities.
So I hear that people, 30 Canadian colleges are opportunities in the fairs in November. So you can pencil it in your diary from now, so that by the time it comes around, you won't be caught by surprise. You'll be ready to go. Which begs the question then, Yasmin, what will people need? What will they need to take anything in particular along with them to come and interact with the different representatives and so on?
Right. So if I could just take a couple of minutes to explain how we prepare.
Right. Sure. Go ahead.
How we prepare students, whether they are mature or just leaving high school. What we do is, you will notice certainly in the press, on radio, on television, that we start to promote the individual fairs. And then in the background, what is happening is that the EduCanada team at the High Commission is out in the field visiting the various high schools across the island, because I know there's a sensitivity around Kingston. But we're all across Jamaica, visiting with schools, giving them an idea of what's to come at the fairs. We advertise the number and names of the universities and colleges that are going to be there. But most importantly, we really would like to encourage anyone who is interested in studying in Canada to visit our website, visit our Facebook, our social media pages, because there is always information on what's going on in studying Canada.
All right, and that's EduCanada, right? What's the website?
So our website is educanada.ca.
Educanada.ca. So
and then our Facebook page is Canada in Jamaica.
All right. So just to reiterate, so we're looking at staging the educational fairs from November 8 to 13, right? And at least 30 Canadian schools will be represented at the fairs. So you can start planning from now. And closer to the time, you will see all the information in the public media, in the press, all that kind of thing. So the information will be made available. But if you don't want to wait, you can go to educanada.ca, or you can log on to Facebook and check out Canada in Jamaica to get more information about how you can start programming, how you're going to study in Canada, right?
And we're also on Twitter. So
absolutely. I mean, I'm sure everywhere, and this is the way it is. Miss Johnson one is asking, how long is this for? 4 years. I suspect she means, is this for 4-year colleges and that kind of thing?
You mean the fairs?
No, in terms of like the schools and
so the programs vary depending on the interest of the person who wants to go and study. If you're looking at a college program, it more than likely will be between 2 to 3 years. And it also depends on what kind of accreditation and certification that college has to offer.
Right.
Some will offer a 2-year, similar to an associate degree. Some will offer a 3-year bachelor's degree. And then there are also diploma programs that are offered. Now, when you're talking about universities, obviously those are 4-year.
Right, you know, people tend to automatically assume that you're talking about 3 to 4 year bachelor program, masters, that kind of thing. So it varies basically, is what you're saying. So
depending on the institution.
I'm sure many persons weren't aware of that. I mean, I'm personally, I assume the first thing you're going to think is 3 or 4 year college situation, and that's what you're going there to find out about and so on. All right, so I guess for me the question then is why Canada to study? I mean, it almost seems obvious, but let's just dive deeper into that question. Why should I choose to go and take myself up and go to EduCanada's fair and find out about studying in Canada? What is the benefit really to me of doing that as opposed to stay studying in Jamaica or, I don't know, anywhere else around the world?
All right. So let me answer that question in two parts. The first part is I mentioned earlier about the long-standing bilateral relations that both countries have enjoyed. Not many people understand or know that in the very early days of that relationship, long before Jamaica was independent, that Canada and Jamaica were actually trading codfish for rum from Jamaica. Right. So we can well imagine how long ago that was.
Strong relationship going way back in the day, right?
Way back in the day. So what that has done is built up what we now know as a diaspora in Canada. And Jamaica is the largest Caribbean diaspora in Canada. Most of those, of course, being in Toronto, Ontario. So there are those two.
Right. So already you have like a network and somewhere you can come and fit in and feel comfortable.
Correct. And then I think Jamaica and Canada also have a lot in common when we talk about our education system. Both countries are British, of a British heritage.
Right, part of the Commonwealth, right?
Exactly. So we tend to understand each other a bit, a bit more. So you have that as well, and then you also have, and I'm not ashamed to say it. You also have now the advantage of a favorable exchange rate, if I can call it that.
Okay, absolutely makes sense. Hey, talk about it. Talk about it, right?
Yes, so when we look at the cost of studying in Canada for an international student,
which we're going to get to that,
right, Canada's cost is a third less than the United States, the UK, and Europe.
Wow, a third less. That's a big difference. So
that's a big difference.
Right.
And then you think of another, I'm going to refer to it as a social kind of benefit, which is that in Jamaica we're used to a very diverse and multicultural.
Absolutely.
After all, Jamaica's motto is out of many one people.
Yeah.
And Canada has become a very multicultural country. And we all know, and the Canadian government was the first in the world to promote a multiculturalism policy.
Okay.
So Canada is a very welcoming country, and really wants to invite more students to come and experience what it is to study in a friendly, multicultural country.
All right, that's part of the sales pitch, ladies and gentlemen. So friendly, multicultural society. Large network of Jamaicans in the diaspora in Canada through Toronto and Ontario. Did I make that?
Toronto is in Ontario.
Well, I've never been, so excuse me for that.
But there are three distinct areas where they are. They're in Vancouver, British Columbia, which is on the west coast.
Right.
They're on the east coast in Toronto, Ontario, and there is a sizable Jamaican diaspora over on the far east coast, the Atlantic provinces, particularly in Nova Scotia.
All right. Let me just quickly show some love to persons joining us online on social media. Susan Richards saying good afternoon to you, Susan. Nadine Blois saying good day. Appreciate that, Nadine. Tisha Wilson Roberts saying good day, and Pablo Bente saying greetings. Thank you all. Thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the eyes. And do us a favor, as we said, share this video with a friend or 12500. Anybody who you know who might be interested or might just benefit from an opportunity to study in Canada. This is what the show is all about, and we're here to give you the information that you need so that hopefully, if you want to, you have one foot in the door. You know what I mean? Keith Kettle saying great job. Thank you, Keith. Appreciate that very much. Over on Instagram here, Shani God Bless is asking, what if you're pregnant? Can you still go? I don't know. Take that one on for me, Yasmin.
I'm not sure what kind of information Shani really wants to get.
Okay.
In terms of if she could just elaborate a little more.
Okay, so hear that, Shani. What more?
But I'll answer it this way. we certainly encourage, at least for the more mature students, we certainly encourage families going to Canada. So I'm going to leave it at that until we can get
some more information. Okay,
yes.
Shani, if you're still tuned in, just give us some more information. Yasmin would like to know, get a little bit more specific as to what you'd like to know. Beyond just, if you're pregnant, can you still go? I think drill down so we can better answer your question, okay? Mercy Foss saying, big up to all nurses and doctors, everyone in the medical field. Well, right about now, big them up, especially under the situation that we're facing with coronavirus. Yes. Anybody who goes out there to help others, especially in a time like this, putting their own life and safety at risk, they're definitely heroes, and we have to big them up 100%. Nicole McLaren Campbell saying, awesome. She's saying, hi, Yasmin. So
hi, Nicole.
Wave to Nicole. And she's saying, it's so true, not just a sales pitch. My students have had great experiences. So we have somebody vouching for EduCanada who's just letting you know that there's a lot of benefit to be had from joining up with them and taking advantage of the opportunity to study in Canada. Right, I'd like to believe that many of us know who Nicole McLaren Campbell is. She works a lot with students with the intention to get them to maximize their educational potential. So we're glad to have her endorsement. Thank you very much, Nicole. Okay?
And if I can just say that Nicole and AIM Educational Services has been one of our really good partners here in Jamaica for studying Canada. So thanks, Nicole, and great job yourself.
Miss Johnson one saying, I will definitely transfer my credits. Kaleidoscopic Chris saying, this is very informative. Thanks much. Appreciate that, Chris. This is why we do it. We're here to give you the information that you need so you can realize your potential and, do what you want to do and, have success. That's essentially the goal. And C for Chrissy saying, good opportunity. How do I apply? Well, the educational fair is going to be in November. You can pencil it into your diary from now. As we mentioned before, it's going to be from November 8 to 13 at 3 different locations across the island. So you'll have the opportunity to go down and attend the fair, and I'll let Yasmin tell you what you're going to experience when you get there.
And you can also, from today, go on to educanada.ca, which is a very useful website because it kind of answers those questions as well. Even helps you to select a program and select where you want to do that program, and really gives you all the information that you will get more details on during the fair. So I would really encourage everyone to just visit educanada.ca and kind of prepare yourselves to go to the fair.
Fantastic. Another couple of questions online, so let's just get to them. Good opportunity. How do I apply? And Vivid Enigma saying, which college is better, Humber or Algonquin? So I guess it depends on which one you prefer.
So I think both of them are great colleges.
Of course,
it really
right?
just depends on the program that you're interested in doing.
Okay. And Sasha World Travel is just giving us a thumbs up. Thank you, Sasha. Appreciate that very much. This is why we do it, for your benefit, so that you can get the information you would like. All right, so thank you for tuning in. Arthur Sinclair on Facebook saying, respect to all medical staff and first responders out there in this crisis. You're preaching to the converted, Arthur. We also,
absolutely
want to express our gratitude and our thanks to all the medical personnel out there who are out there working with members of the public right now, especially under the current circumstances. We appreciate them very much. Andy Moonsam is saying, hello from McMaster University. Hey, admissions. Andy. Keep up the great work, Yasmin. So you have a fan, you have some endorsements.
Andy is really one of our really great representatives from McMaster University.
All right.
One that has many Jamaicans who have studied at that institution.
Andy, if you would be so kind, let us share in the comments what your experience has been like, how you worked with EduCanada, how has it been for you, the study experience, that kind of thing. So maybe you can convince some other people to come and maybe study at McMaster. You know what I mean? expand what's going on there. All right, Yasmin, what about scholarships? I'm sure many persons are thinking, it'd be great, but maybe I can't afford it. Is there any possibility for a scholarship opportunity when you go to these fairs, or connections in that kind of way?
Yes. So it's an often asked question.
I would imagine,
And I'd just like to say that if I'm to just answer that question, it is yes, there are scholarship opportunities. However, I think that EduCanada does scholarships in a unique kind of way. And remember earlier in the conversation, we started by saying that the provinces are the ones who actually manage education throughout Canada. And the federal government is kind of like that supporter in the background, raising the Canadian flag and saying, come, we're here. So in terms of scholarships, and I know many are used to a scholarship offer from a neighbor of Canada.
A neighbor,
so the Canadian government does it a little differently. We really offer exchanges, and I'm talking about the federal scholarships. Those are really exchanges, and they're exchanges, and this is important, Vaughn.
Look in the camera
exchanges
and let people know.
For students who are studying in Jamaica.
Okay. What does that mean exactly?
Okay. So many students in Jamaica are at UWI, UTEC, Northern Caribbean University, many of the community colleges as well here in Jamaica. Those students every year have the ability to apply for scholarship exchanges with Canadian institutions. And I must tell you, we have 100 of those for the Caribbean, for CARICOM in particular. So we're really narrowing it down to give Jamaicans, Barbadians,
an equitable distribution.
Distribution, but more of an opportunity to get that scholarship. Jamaica, of course, being the larger territory in CARICOM, tends to get a lot of those 100 scholarships. And they are tenable at any one of the universities in Canada, like a McMaster that we heard from recently. The only requirement is that the University of the West Indies, University of Technology, NCU, the community colleges must have an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding with the Canadian institution. Because at the end of the day, it's still UWI, it's still UTEC, NCU, community colleges that are going to award you your degree. So the Canadian government offers you the opportunity to go and study, whether it's for a semester, or 2 semesters, or a year, at one of these Canadian institutions. Every cost associated with that scholarship is paid for by the government of Canada.
Okay, lovely.
The only requirement we have on the student is that you must continue to pay your tuition to your home institution. Because the idea, Vaughn, is that we're not taking students.
So it's not necessarily a scholarship in the strictest sense.
In the strictest sense.
It's you're still.
But it's a great opportunity, and many Jamaican students have taken up that offer. So we do those. When it comes to the scholarships that I know many of our students are used to, those are offered through the Canadian institutions.
So they'd have to seek out and apply to that institution in particular.
Precisely.
Okay, all right. A couple of questions coming in online. Let's see. Let's make sure I can get them. Teresa Wright 2010 saying, what's the website? It's educanada.ca. If you want, you can go over onto our Facebook page. JS Facebook page, we're streaming live there. We have the details posted in the comments, so you should be able to get those as well, right? Shani, God bless, is back. Remember, she had asked about if you're pregnant and what the circumstances would be surrounding that. She's saying, okay, so you've applied and were accepted in a college. Then upon leaving, you're pregnant. Would you be denied at embassy? I don't know if I
I can't speak on behalf of immigration because I don't work for that department. But I will tell you this, which is something that they tell us all the time. And by the way, we are probably one of the very few countries in the Canadian diplomatic service where our immigration colleagues actually give our students advice.
Okay.
Usually you can't talk to an immigration person, but in Jamaica, when we have our fairs and we have our briefing sessions, our immigration colleagues are part of that orientation. Okay. I know the advice they give all the time is just tell us what's happening.
Right. So they can work with the situation once they know what's going on.
Exactly. But you just need to answer the questions truthfully.
Okay.
And they will respond.
All right. La Chica Creativa saying requirements, which is there anything in particular you'd need to take with you to the EduCanada fair once just to make sure that you qualify, or is it more a thing that is a case by case basis based on whichever university or institution that you want to apply to?
Okay, so at the education fairs, if you're coming there to test your eligibility, you can bring along documentation that's going to kind of serve as proof of what you've done before. But I don't think at that point it's absolutely necessary.
Okay.
Where it becomes really necessary is when you are submitting that application.
Right.
But it's always good to travel with them, travel with the documents, so you can have a really good and clear conversation with the representatives.
All right. And just to reiterate, EduCanada will be hosting its educational fairs from November 8 to 13. That's November, people. So you have time to prepare and get your mind wrapped up and pencil it into your diary so that you'll be prepared when the time comes. And at the three fairs, right, at different locations across the country, just to make sure that everybody gets a chance to participate. There'll be more than 30 schools available, so you can make the connection. And as Yasmin had mentioned before, this ranges from your associate degrees all the way up to your, I would imagine your masters, your PhDs, whatever it is that you want to do. The opportunities are there for those as well. And she does mention that there are scholarship opportunities available. Scholarships in the traditional sense would be more accessible through the institutions themselves, but through the exchange program, through the Canadian High Commission thereabouts, is that who facilitates it?
Well, it's right. So we work with the local universities and community colleges to go through that process.
Right, and they make those exchange programs available. Hopefully you can be able to go back through and get more specific information as to what Yasmin had explained in terms of how you can take advantage of those exchange programs.
So EduCanada.ca has all of that information.
Absolutely, so you can go check that out as well. Teresa Wright 2010, can you post this live for future view? We're also live on the JIS Facebook page. So you can, it will be available as soon as we're finished, so you can always go view it there. And we will be uploading to YouTube as well, so you'll be able to go back through and get information available that way. And once again, educanada.ca if you want any additional information. That's where you can go in and get all the extras, right? Miss Johnson one saying, I'm at the Micro University College. Mercy Foss says, do you have an age limit for someone to file for? Anyone? I don't know. That's an immigration question.
So
maybe Yasmin is not necessarily the best person to answer that question. Miss Johnson one saying, wow, I hope that we will be able to. I hope that when you asked before, as Yasmin mentioned, she said their immigration officers are very open, very receptive, so that if you have any questions, you can come in and discuss this personal, individual situation with them, so that they can provide you the best guidance, so that you can navigate the whole situation successfully, right? Saying nice, this will help with cultural exchange. Absolutely, we love that. 1971 Richard is asking about farm workers. I don't really know how to answer that. That is a
program that the High Commission also manages, but that's in a different section.
All right. Let me just show some love to people on there. A lot of Instagram comments coming in. I'm going to switch back to you in a minute. Let me just show some love to persons on Facebook. Megan Miller saying, hello, I'm from Assiniboine.
Assiniboine. Hi, Megan. I know Megan.
What Yasmin said. Says community college in Brandon, Manitoba. We have participated in 2 EduCanada events in Jamaica and look forward to joining again. Wonderful students coming from Jamaica. All right, so wonderful. Andy, who we had asked to talk to us about his experience, he's chiming in saying EduCanada has been helping McMaster at every step of the way, from outreach to Cape students at their schools, the EduCanada Fair and visa process. We look forward to promoting our expanded Nicholas and Janice Brathwaite Scholarship for September 2021 admission. It will be available to applicants from students throughout the Caribbean. It covers all costs for up to 2 students for the entire degree program. Right? So if you go back into the comments on our Facebook Live, you should be able to get that information. And Andy, at McMaster, is there any way persons can share McMaster's website or share any information where any details or person can go and get additional information, so that if they were deciding between Humber or all the other different ones,
if
maybe they might
Andy,
choose McMaster after all, right?
So if I know Andy, it's already with them.
There you go. All right. Michael Scarlett saying highly informative, loving every minute. Thank you very much, Michael. This is why we do the show. Thank you very much for your comment. All right. Let's switch back over to Instagram. You see lots of person interested in studying in Canada, and Yasmin. So all of our questions coming in. All right. So is Sea Life, I hope I got that right, Sea Life saying, is it necessary to currently be enrolled as a student? What about school dropouts?
Right. So I mentioned we refer to them as scholarship exchanges earlier. Those require that you must be a full-time student at a local tertiary institution. I'm not going to speak to anyone being a dropout.
Right.
But I refer to them more as mature students.
Right, mature students.
And mature students are also welcome.
Absolutely.
To study in Canada.
No excuses, right?
No excuses.
If you really want to do it, if you have the will, there is a way. Make the connection with EduCanada and see what can happen.
Vaughn, that's a very important point that you just made. Where there's a will, there's a way. Because I don't know if we can spend a few minutes talking about Jamaicans who have just done so well for themselves in Canada as a result of this whole EduCanada program.
Right.
So I want to speak to the younger ones in particular, who, students say, you have scholarships? And I'm like, that's not where we start the conversation. It's just not where we start the conversation.
Okay, because remember, that's not where we start the conversation. Right. Don't just come up to Yasmin and say, Yasmin, you have any scholarship? I give it. No. Let's start the conversation on a much better note, right?
Exactly. So, and the conversation needs to start around a student's transcript and what your performance has been like.
Okay.
Because anywhere you choose to study, even if it is in Jamaica, that's the foundation.
Right.
And as you are aware, I'm sure, we've had some really good students.
Absolutely.
Who, have always wished to study abroad. But may not have had the necessary means to do that.
Definitely.
But they did it. And how did they do it? Because 1, they applied themselves. 2, they did their research. I cannot encourage students anymore. Do your research. That is where you're going to find these scholarships.
Right.
And I speak this year particularly to a young student from St. Jago High School. Sudeen, and if Sudeen is listening, Sudeen is currently in his first year at the University of Toronto, which is referred to as one of Canada's Ivy League schools. Very competitive to get in, only the best, and also expensive.
I can just imagine.
All right. Sudeen from St. Jago was the recipient of a very prestigious scholarship that the University of Toronto offers, a Pearson Scholarship. that is only offered to 37 students across the world. And
Right.
can you imagine, of course,
Extremely competitive.
Sudeen
Right.
from Jamaica,
From St. Jago High. I'm
from
sure my
St.
manager will
Jago
love that.
High, is the current recipient of this year's.
Right.
Now, that's an $80,000 scholarship
Wow.
every year, right? And Sudeen is just so awesome because prior to his departure from Jamaica, he actually did a little expose on what his fellow students need to do to take advantage of these opportunities. And we certainly shared it at our fairs last November.
Right, right.
We also had Sudeen via Zoom talking to students and telling them about his experience thus far. He's really a very great young man.
All right.
We've also had the experience where a young lady from Immaculate Conception High School is going to Ontario Tech. There is one scholarship in the amount of $72,000 there for international students. One.
One scholarship. Wow.
And
That's impressive.
she dared to apply. She competed with 3,000 students from across the world for that scholarship. And guess what?
She got it.
She got it. And when we spoke to the president of the university and asked, what is it that made her, what was it that gave her that competitive advantage? And he said something very important, and I want students to again listen. He said, all the applicants were on equal par when it came to their academic performance.
Right.
He said what set her apart was her extracurricular involvement.
Say that again. Look in the camera. Say that
Her
again.
extracurricular involvement. She was involved in about 6 different clubs at school. She was involved in her community. She was involved at church. And she herself said she had a recommendation from her guidance counselor that was to die for.
Okay. A lot of persons go to school and they don't make use of the social and the networking opportunities. You might just think you're going to school, it's classes, teachers. If you have a teacher that you make a good impression on, that is an asset.
Yes.
And if you are able to use that to distinguish yourself compared to others in a scholarship opportunity, you should take it.
Precisely.
You have to understand the levels and the whole process involved in. So it doesn't just begin with you have a scholarship. Okay,
Right.
Even if I did have a scholarship,
Are
how are you so
eligible?
sure that you would even
Exactly.
qualify to get it? Right?
Exactly.
So there's some work to be
Exactly.
done where that is concerned, right, guys? So
Yeah.
the opportunities are there, but as they say, you have success happens when success or opportunity meets preparation.
Correct.
So you have to getting a scholarship means you have to do the prep work. You have to, like young lady from Immaculate, go out there and get yourself involved. Don't just come home, stay on your tablet and play video games all evening. You know what I mean? The world is filled with people who do that.
Yeah.
If you want to distinguish yourself, you have to find ways to get out there and connect with other people, make an impact, make a difference, so that when a person picks up your application, they can say,
Even if it is one scholarship.
right. They'll just look at it and say, this is a truly distinguished individual.
Exactly.
And so that's where it starts. Just to once again stress the details, EduCanada is going to be having the education fairs, 3 education fairs between November 8 and 13 at different locations across the island, so that you can go and get information about how to take advantage of study opportunities in Canada. And we're not just talking about 3-year bachelor degree programs. We begin at associate degree all the way up to PhD. So there are lots of opportunities. And as Yasmin has said, there are scholarship opportunities. But as we just stressed, they don't just come cheap or easy. You have to be prepared. You have to distinguish yourself so that when a person picks up your application, they can say, okay, this person is definitely worth investing these resources in, so that we, for the return, that you'll do well for the school.
And just continuing on scholarship. So we've been mainly talking about the undergraduate level.
Right.
Now, when you get to the graduate, and in a couple of cases to the PhD level, the government of Canada does have scholarships.
Okay, there you go.
Fully funded scholarships for those. And again, all that information is on educanada.ca.
Right. Kimberly Latin is asking how many C6 does one have to have in order to study in Canada. I don't know if it's that simple, but elaborate.
It would also depend on, again, the institution that you're going to. But I do know for many of the universities, they would really prefer if you had at least 2 units of CAPE.
Okay. At least 2 units. So you hear that, Kimberly? Hopefully that helps you, at least 2 units. Akeem Makala saying it can propel you very far, I can imagine. Calvin McLeod saying hello, Calvin, appreciate that as well. Just to go back over to Facebook, saying Megan Miller, students can learn more about Assiniboine, I hope I got that right,
Yes.
or Assiniboine International at assiniboine.net. So that's another school online who's trying to, making their sales page, letting students know there are opportunities for you to connect, and I'm sure they'll be here for the fairs in November as well.
Here, yes.
So lots of opportunities. All right. With all that said, I think we can move to wrap now. We've discussed a lot of things, but chief among them, I'm going to say it again, EduCanada is going to be having 3 educational fairs from November 8 to 13. We're 3 different locations across the country. The details will be made available as we get closer to the time. You can take advantage of the opportunities to go and study in Canada. There are lots of opportunities ranging from your associate degree all the way up to PhD. So you can take advantage of everything, and there's really no excuse there. Just come and find out what is possible. Don't just feel like, okay, boy, this is bigger than me, or I probably will never get here, or whatever the case may be. There's come first and find out what's going on. Chances are there might just be some way to get your foot in the door.
Absolutely.
Right? So take advantage of those opportunities. All right, I'm going to just give the last word to you, Yasmin. I'm going to let you make the last sales pitch to the people. Why Canada to study? Why should they pay attention to EduCanada's fairs and, not go visit your neighbors to the south?
And no, you can visit the neighbors to the south.
To the south or in other parts of the world.
But I'm sure that the offering from Canada will come out on top.
All right. Tell us why.
All right, so I want to really encourage anyone interested in studying abroad to really look at the Study in Canada option.
Mm-hmm.
Canada is a welcoming, multiculturally diverse society that welcomes international students. And by the way, Yvonne, last year Canada had over 500,000 international students studying in Canada.
From all over the world, different territories,
right.
I can imagine.
The opportunities that you will get during your course are just awesome. And many of the Jamaican students who are currently there can testify to that.
Mm-hmm.
I would really love to encourage our young people in particular to really do your research and come out to the fairs. Also, talk to your guidance counselors, because one of the programs that we have at EduCanada, Vaughn, is that we are also helping to build the capacity of the guidance counselor to guide and advise students of their study options at their individual institutions. So Canada, we're ready to receive you. Please come out. Again, visit us on Facebook and Twitter, and visit educanada.ca.
Right.
After that, if you have any more questions, they can always email us at kingston.education@international.gc.ca.
It's a mouthful, but I'm sure they can watch the video back and get that information, right? Hopefully that's also on the EduCanada.ca website.
Right, that's correct.
So go there and you can get the contact details for Yasmin or other persons in the specific department, so you can get the information you need. Please, people, pencil it into your diary from now, November 8 to 13. Take advantage of this opportunity. Things like these, how often do you stage these fairs? Is it
every
like
year.
An annual thing, but only in November towards the end of the year?
Yes.
Yeah, so you don't want to go pencil it in and then forget, and then before you know it, you know, you have to wait till next year again, or to jump through some other kinds of hoops to get yourself through to study in Canada. This might just be the easiest and simplest route. All right. So if you need any more information, EduCanada.ca. That's where you go. That's where you get information. C. Spalding 52, you really came in on the tail end of our conversation. The person is asking, what kind of study are we talking about, and is it only for high school students? Short answers, we're talking about everything from associate degree all the way up to PhD. No, it's not for high school students. So you have high school students as well, but it's for mature students as well. So it ranges. There are persons from all age groups, all different types of students, and you can still take advantage of the opportunity to join EduCanada, to work with EduCanada to study in Canada. Okay? All right, with that said, I think it's time for us to wrap. Thank you to everyone who tuned into our discussion, especially those of you who sent in your questions and your comments. We really appreciate them. And if you have a question and we're not going to get to answer it now, but if you still have a question, you can send it in. We'll be going through afterwards, and we'll be able to send this information to Yasmin or the other relevant person so that you can get the information that you need. And remember to check educanada.ch for other, just in case they might have answers to the questions that you might want to ask there, right? Remember, our audience plays a major part in our show. So if there's anyone you'd like for us to have in studio, let us know, and we'll try to have that person in studio as soon as possible to answer all your questions. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jamaica Information Service to see who will be in studio next. We do this every week live on Facebook and Instagram. I've been your host, Vaughn Davis. This has been Studio 58A Live. Thank you very much for joining us, and please have a wonderful, safe, healthy day. All right.